An opinion is just an opinion, and usually it's based on someone's knowledge base, to whatever limit that may be. People having opinions about whether it be some war going on somewhere else, only maybe knowing one side of the story, not the other, who knows? And opinions are just that. And then we see, even in professions, people saying, well, this is just my opinion, because that allows a way to say, for example, the opinion's wrong, which more times than not, opinions are wrong. Well, it's just an opinion, and there's no penalty for that. It's just, they said what they said. But a lot of people will take an opinion and, if not immediately, eventually turn that into fact. And then next thing you know, people are just going on with opinions. Now, opinions, I'm going to, for the sake of argument, parallel that with theories. And we see in today's world so many different theories about so many different topics. And people enjoy talking about theories because usually the topics, there's no absolute.
Here's something that the layperson, the cognitive dissonant masses, they fall for this one. It's tied into appeal to incredulity fallacies, where if they find something difficult to believe or they find something ridiculous, somehow they associate it with being untrue or the likelihood being less true, even though they haven't investigated the topic or applied science, logic, or reason objectively and non-fallaciously. So, here is the order of the day. The truth is not dependent on one's ability to understand it. They're so comfortable with their mode of existence, they don't want anything disrupting their illusion of reality, which they've become comfortable with. Pick any extreme topic, and you'll see 99% of the masses immediately dismiss it or appeal to incredulity.
Hello, it's March 2024, and before I get to the topic of this video, I just want to address something about a few videos that I have recently done. And it does, or will, tie into the topic of this video. Now, a while back, I posted a video sharing some personal experiences in the wilderness, and it is what it is. Now, I just want to clarify that my efforts here are not going to be focused on these types of things. I share that one just to have something different, to share some first-hand experiences. And as I've said in other videos around that time, perhaps these things, maybe not the topic of that specific video, but things that are beyond human impact this world. And that's a whole different tangent. And I did share that for whatever it's worth, and it had some pushback, whatever. Some people, most people probably never experience anything unusual. As a descriptive, a common descriptive, say supernatural, I call it woo-woo, whatever. And that's great. Maybe you're one of the lucky ones. There are people who experience these things but want to dismiss it, try to find some logical explanation, and there's nothing wrong with that, because to simply jump into a conclusion without trying to figure out, what are the facts or the truths and make an informed conclusion, is, you have to be skeptical. Even, for example, with my own personal experiences with that kind of those kind of topics, I cast doubt and I try to disprove it, figure things out. Sometimes, most of the times I can't, but whatever. This is, again, going to segue into the topic of this video. Now, another video that I talked about, for some reason, and both these topics have some controversy for some reason in society, and people mock, ridicule anyone who talks about this. The other video that I did, mostly truther types talk about, and actually I made 2 points in that video, and both those points, mostly truther types, and again, people who conform and with mainstream and everything else, mock, ridicule and everything. But what's interesting, I'm just going to segue for a moment, there's a lot of things, say 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago even, or go throughout history, people were saying these things, ridiculed, mocked, and the next thing you know, it's like, well, yeah, this is true. And we even have officials coming out saying, yeah, this stuff is true. And the people who were doing all the mocking and everything just, oh, okay? Because it comes from an official source. The topic of this video is, for example, opinions, which I'm going to segue into theories. Now, how does this tie into what I just talked about? A lot of people will say, well, somebody, for example, will share their first-hand experience. People listening tend to say, well, you know, that's an interesting opinion or theory, and it's like they can't distinguish between, okay, well, this is what had happened, to being an opinion. And we see, for example, in today's world, everyone has an opinion on something. Whether it's informed or not, they have an opinion. And I've highlighted, for example, the argument pineapple on pizza. It's an opinion. Is it acceptable on pizza or not? And I'm sure there's been many feuds over pineapple on pizza, but anyway, that's not the point here. People make conclusions to have an opinion, and most times opinions are wrong on things that they have little to no knowledge about. And a lot of times people just regurgitate what they've heard. Somebody, maybe they trust, a friend, family or something, they have a position, it's like, well, yeah, they just adopt the position. And then when you try to challenge these positions, people get very emotional because they can't support that opinion, rather than take the opportunity, for example, to sit back and go, okay, maybe I'll learn something here. We see, for example, especially in professions where everything's an opinion, whether it be a lawyer, a judge, a doctor, a nurse, politicians, like them or hate them, whatever. We see this in professions. You can even say with something as simple as construction workers or mechanics or whatever. Everyone has an opinion. Now, somebody who has experience, say, with something can make a better informed conclusion, but not all professions have that opportunity. Especially, say, for example, when you get into law, which is not static, it's very fluid. And I'm not saying it's fluid in the sense that the law itself is fluid, but what it kind of is, but I don't want to go, that's a different tangent to go down. But every situation is different and should be looked at differently. Same with medicine. You may have experience with, you know, certain things, but then there's a lot of things just guesswork. This is where you have conflicts and, you know, you have contradictions with medical reports and everything else, because it's all opinions. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about, say, for example, professionals or anyone having opinions, but the key is to make a properly informed conclusion, which leads to an opinion on something. And then this segues into theories. People in today's world accept theories as factual. And again, when you try to challenge somebody with, say, a theory that they believe in, the key word believe, to believe is to make an uninformed conclusion, they get emotional when they can't support it. And they resort to name calling and everything else, and logical fallacies. And logical fallacies seems to be the norm with most people in this world. And logical fallacies are the basis for many to most theories and opinions. The problem is when you have, for example, someone in an authoritative position giving an opinion or a theory that could have devastating consequences, say, for example, to an individual. And professionals especially will default to saying, well, I just shared my opinion or perhaps a theory, because if they're wrong, most times they're wrong, well, there's no penalty for that, because, oh, it's just, you know, based on what I knew at the time. And this is the whole world that we live in. And a lot of people will talk about even the topics that I mentioned earlier in this video and they'll try to come up with opinions and theories on all sorts of stuff. A lot of people have never left behind their keyboard, just reading what's online and listening to a bunch of stories and everything else. So I just want to really highlight again opinions and theories, and how in today's world people cannot distinguish that from, for example, truth and facts. And it's very hard for people to want to commit to a truth or a fact because we live in a politically correct society. Don't want to offend anyone because everyone has the opportunity to be correct when everything is just deemed an opinion or theory. Which leaves a question: how would you know when someone comes along who has greater knowledge and understanding on any topic? Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.